I've been playing guitar for over 20 years now, and if somebody had shown me this video years ago, I honestly believe that I would be a much better guitarist today. Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at common guitar player bad habits and how you can fix them. These are all things that I've done, and the amount of time I've spent unlearning this stuff would have been far better off used elsewhere. But I've already made these mistakes. Here's to hoping that you don't have to. To kick things off, one of the absolute worst things that we tend to do is go into what I call tunnel hearing. It's like tunnel vision, but for the ears. It's when you're playing with other musicians and you become hyper-focused on yourself, losing awareness of your fellow co-musicians. This is the opposite of what you want to be doing. See, when I'm playing my best, it's almost like an out-of-body experience where I'm more engaged in what everyone else is playing than myself, and what I'm doing is more like a subconscious stream of my musical experiences coming out free of thought. So this is all fine and dandy, but how do you get there? Well, first, be aware of this next time you're jamming with someone. Take note of what you're focused on. If you can tune in to what they're doing without messing up your own thing, congratulations, this was a very easy bad habit to fix. However, if this throws you off, there are a number of things that you can work on to make this easier. For example, anytime you practice, the metronome is used with everything. Let me repeat that because that's important. The metronome is used with everything. Apart from helping your sense of rhythm, by introducing the metronome, you're incorporating an external sound source, which you're going to need to pay attention to, thus forcing you out of tunnel ear. Now, getting hyper-focused on ourselves is especially common when we're doing solos or leads, so one of the things that I recommend is practicing this stuff using backing tracks that aren't simply just one chord vamps. Blues progressions are always my go-to. But really try to follow along with the chords as you play. At any point, you should be able to hit the pause button and know exactly where you are in the progression. Listen to the chords as you're soloing and try to highlight them with your note choices. See, making a conscious effort to hear things outside of your own voice when you're practicing is going to pay off in dividends when you get together with a band. The next bad habit on our list for today is ignoring the chord changes, which ties in nicely with our last topic. For the longest time, my soloing consisted of what I'll call blanket scaling. Say I have a chord progression that goes A minor, G, F, E7. Well, what I used to do is take my A minor pentatonic scale and throw it over top of that entire chord progression like a blanket without any plan beyond that. That would sound something like this. This can certainly get you going on the soloing front, but the next level is to pay attention to those chords and highlight them with your note choices. That would sound something like this. To me, it's just a much more mature sound when you're not ignoring those chords. How do you do this? Well, you start by taking the scale that you're going to be used for soloing. In this case, it's an A natural minor, which changes slightly for the E7, but you take that scale and you figure out how each one of the notes in it reacts with the underlying chord. So for example, when I'm soloing over top of A minor, this note from my scale in relation to that A minor would be the root. This would be the 9, this would be the flat third, and so on. Now when the chord changes to the G, the relation of all those notes to the chord changes. This note is now the 9 of the G, the major third, the 11, and so on. That would be the theory side of things, but you also want to train your ear to be able to hear how these notes and these chords interact. And with this information, you can make more strategic note choices. And I'm going to take a second here to quickly let you know that I dive deeper into a lot of these concepts over my course platform, samuraiGuitarTheory.com, where I just released a brand new course, The Style of Soloing. If you're an intermediate-ish guitar player looking to take your solos to the next level, I made this with you in mind. In it, I teach the fun stuff, the concepts you add to a solo to give it its sparkle or wow factor. Things like chromatics, using chords, using rhythmic twists, stuff like that, and much more. All my courses are professionally animated to make the tough stuff easy to understand. And let me tell you, one of my bad habits was trying to figure out everything on my own. This course is the resource that I wish I had when I was learning this stuff. And for a bit longer, it's 50% off with promo code EARLYBIRD50, or you can get it bundled together with my other soloing course, 2 for the price of 1 with that same promo code. You can find more information at samuraiGuitarTheory.com. I'll also put up links in the description. Anyways, let's get back to those bad habits. Next up is a physical thing that I catch myself doing, but it's tensing up and holding my breath when I'm faced with a difficult passage, which just makes it that much harder to execute. I theorize that this is something we evolved as part of that fight or flight thing when faced with something threatening or scary, but when doing a fine motor skill like playing guitar, it's counterproductive because it makes playing guitar so much harder. The biggest thing here is just to be aware of it. If you catch yourself doing this, make a concerted effort to breathe normally and relax your body, even though that can be tough, especially in those high energy adrenaline moments. I honestly think that playing sports and meditating and exercising goes a long way in helping to alleviate this, because those activities require you to be very aware of your being. They train you to pick up when you're feeling uncomfortable. And the more that I did this kind of stuff, the quicker I was able to notice when I was doing this bad habit on guitar. I'm a big proponent of the idea that having balance in life and doing things outside of music that bring you joy will have hidden benefits when you do sit down to play your instrument. Let's move on. This next bad habit is something that has come up every single guitar lesson I've ever taught to a student who's working on soloing. Run-on musical sentences. One of the things that's unique to guitar, and I guess piano as well, is that there's nothing physically stopping us from playing note after note after note. Theoretically, I could keep whittling away until I either fall asleep or drop dead from hunger. Whereas a saxophonist and many other instruments are going to need to take a breath, and these breaths act as natural punctuation, distinguishing their phrases, which gives music more of a linguistic character versus a purely mechanical one. Take a quick listen. This is something that I would consider a run-on solo. And here's one that uses space and breathes. If I'm listening to either of those two for an extended period of time, I'm picking number 2 every day. And as a soloist, if I leave space at the beginning, it gives me something to build up to, and I can get to that notey stuff later if I want. There's 3 things that I'll recommend to break this bad habit that is far too easy to fall into. The first is that when you're practicing soloing, give yourself this limitation. Play as few notes as possible to the point where it feels painfully empty. Record yourself, listen back, and you may be surprised at how good it actually sounds. And if it doesn't sound good, keep working that muscle, keep practicing until it does. My second tip is to learn solos note for note by sax players or trumpet players or any other instrument that has that physical limitation, and think about how long their phrases are, how they break things up, how they employ space, and most importantly, what effect that has on you and how you can apply that to your own instrument. My third tip is to try singing as you play. By vocalizing or humming along with your solos, you're going to need to take breaths, which break up those run-on musical sentences. All right, the next bad guitar habit is relying on tabs, not necessarily using them, but using them as a crutch. I spent many early formative years of my guitar playing learning music only through tablature. Many of us have done this because it's the easiest way to achieve instant gratification through music. But let me tell you, if I'd only learned a small fraction of those songs that I learned in those early years, but I had done it using my ear, I would have been much better off in the long run and saved a lot of time that I needed to spend getting my ear caught up. The ear is the most important tool that we have, but the ability to access anything for free online has made it so that we don't really need to use it when learning a song. However, when you start going deeper into music and your ear is underdeveloped, like mine was, let me tell you, it is a monumental task getting it caught up to speed. So the earlier that you can curb this and work on this stuff, the better. Here's my recommendation. Next time you're learning something, don't use the tab. Try to figure it out using your ear and then compare it against the tab. How close did you get? If you're nowhere close, go do something easier. If you gotta go back to frickin' hot cross buns, so be it, that's where you start. And if there are times where you just want to turn off your brain, have some fun, and play along to something, or you want to quickly pick up a piece of information, that's fine. Tabs are the most efficient form of communication that we have. The problem is when you absolutely need them for everything. Moving on, we got a quickie here, and it's an easy one to fix. Bad habit, playing your guitar when others are trying to talk at rehearsal. If your bandmates are working something out, and you decide that now is the time to show off your rendition of Jimi Hendrix's Star Spangled Banner, don't. And last for today is one of the worst bad habits, and let's be honest, all of us guitar players do this, but comparing yourself to others in an unhealthy way. Gauging where you're at in your musical development to your peers can be a valuable thing to do. And when I say peers, I'm talking about the people who have a similar background as you. If you notice that these people are working on things that you're not, or you're struggling with things that they aren't, this can be valuable information that you can do something productive with. But putting large amounts of your self-worth into these comparisons, not so beneficial. Because here's the thing, there will always be somebody better, there will always be somebody worse. You just kind of got to be okay with where you're at in your musical journey. And remember that there is no end, the journey is the entire thing. And you also can't be holding yourself up to someone who's been playing 10 times as long as you or has way more experience than you, because then you're just setting yourself up for a letdown. And as you progress, you got to remember that you can't do everything. There are certain musical paths that you can follow, but in doing so, it means that you've got to forget about these ones. But the nice thing is that these limitations and these things that you can't do can play a large role in finding your own unique voice, which I believe to be the most fulfilling thing that you can do on an instrument. So next time you're weighing yourself up against that Instagram phenom, you gotta say, hey, what they're doing is cool. What I'm trying to do is cool. That's cool. There you have it, my friends, the worst guitar habits that I could come up with and how you can right that ship if you're dealing with any of this stuff. If you've got any other bad habits that you can think of, or anything that you'd like to add to the conversation, you can do so down in that comment section. Don't forget, my new course, The Style of Soloing, is now available, and for a bit longer, it's 50% off with promo code EARLYBIRD50, or you can get it bundled together with my other soloing course, 2 for the price of 1 with that same promo code. If you enjoyed this video, my courses are this kind of stuff, but in significant more detail with significant more production value. You can find more information at samuraiguitartheory.com. I'll also put up links in the description. Thank you all for watching. If you want to check out another video like this one, hit that link up there. Remember, you can find that Sammy G merch over at shopsamuraiguitarist.com. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and stay tuned for a wide range of music-related content. Until next time, look after yourselves, look after each other, look after the planet. I'm Samurai Guitarist, and I'll see you again soon.